Hey, everybody, and welcome. It is our Games of the Month. I'm Joel Niemeyer, and that is Jeremy Stender. And Jeremy, where did the summer go? Because baseball playoffs are here, and we're heading fast to the end of baseball season.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that August is here. I'm not going to say where did summer go yet. We've still got the month of August, but yes, kids are, you walk into any grocery store or any place right now and you see back to school specials. And, I don't know about you, Joel. I've been out of school for a long time. It's still kind of alarms me a little bit when I see that. But yeah, we are here and we're jumping headfirst into it. If you are a town ball fan, there is not a month that is much better than August. And of course, Labor Day weekend, which is where all of these town ball teams, as we start into the playoffs here, that's where they're all hoping to end up and have a chance to win a state title over in New Prague, Jordan, Chaska, and Shakopee.
And we will say best of luck to all the high schools out there, because I know high school practices, I should say, start here in August. So best of luck to all of them. But we're going to focus on playoffs here because in this, Inkstead, Minnesota radio network area, there's 5 teams in Class B and 5 teams in Class C that are both in the top 10. So I'll start off on the B side here because that's got a couple of teams you're familiar with there. Raymond, Young America, Watertown, Loretto, and Bird Island all in the top 10 in B, and those are some solid teams that have they've played August baseball before.
Yeah, and that's a pretty impressive list. And notice, Joel, you didn't say Plato. You didn't say the defending state champion Delano A's. I mean, yeah, so there's a lot. I mean, and that's what's kind of one of the great things, with Class B is the caliber of baseball is so high. And, Joel, while those 5 teams that you mentioned, plus those 2 that I just mentioned, those are all teams that have dreams and aspirations of playing Labor Day weekend. There are also teams that might not be in the state tournament. That's how tough it is to get in that state tournament. But a Raymond team that led Young America almost wire to wire last year in the state tournament game before letting it slip away. Bird Island, just a few years removed from playing in a state championship. Plenty of deep runs in the state tournament. Watertown, 5 years ago, they made that magical run all the way to the state championship. So these are teams who've been there, done that, so to speak. And that kind of makes it that much more fun. But just the competitive nature of Class B means that it is going to be an absolute grind to get through there. It was a grind the old way, Joel. When we talk about the old days, that was a grind. But there is no such thing as that right now, and it's going to be an adventurous next 5 weekends if you're a town ball fan.
And I think the other side of the sword as we go over to Class C now, because in Class C, those 5 teams from the IMRN area, Hanska, Glencoe, Howard Lake, Granite Falls, and Morris, those are 5 solid teams. But to me, Class C is much more open. Like, I can see all 5 of them making the state tournament and playing Labor Day weekend. I can see some of them losing in their regions. Class C to me is an interesting class this year.
It really is. And I do think that it's a little bit like the old class when we look at it, is that for the most part, those better teams a lot of times are going to rise to the top. You might have a few outliers that through there, but a couple of the teams that you mentioned, like let's say a Hanska or let's say a Glencoe, I think those are 2 teams that I'd be actually pretty surprised if they weren't playing deep into the state tournament. So, Morris, it's always hit and miss. We never know what we're going to get from that region. They've been very competitive again this year, but that's a region that sometimes maybe hasn't lived up to their expectations. So makes it a lot more fun. We know here down in the Hutchinson-Glencoe area where you and I are located, we know that the Glencoe Brewers have pretty big aspirations. They played in the state quarterfinals last year. They're better than what they were last year. In fact, they're quite a bit better. That doesn't mean anything, though, because all it takes is for one bad hop, a bad throw, or maybe somebody steps up in the bottom of the order of the team that they're playing and hits one out of the park or has a bases clearing double, and things in your dreams can be shattered pretty quick. So it's going to be fun, but I would agree with you. I think that I think B is more open from the standpoint where I think when you put the 24 teams in that state tournament, there's probably 20 that you could say, I wouldn't be surprised if they win the state title. On the flip side, with those Class C teams and those 32 Class C teams, I think you can get a little bit closer, because I think that you're going to look at maybe 8 to 10 teams that you think just stand out above the rest. And I'd be surprised if 3 or 4 of those teams at least aren't standing come deep into Labor Day weekend.
Don't forget, you can find coverage of all those tournaments, districts and regions and state all across the Inkstead, Minnesota radio network, and including KDUZ, KARP, and KGLB. That is our games of the month. He's Jeremy Stender. I'm Joel Niemeyer. So long, everybody.